Back, everyone, on this Friday morning. Pleased to be joined now by U.S. Senator Mr. John Kennedy of Louisiana. Senator Kennedy, always a pleasure.
My pleasure's mine, man.
Good morning. Good morning. It's been a busy week. Of course, we've been keeping in mind the one-year anniversary mark of historic flooding from last year. A lot of progress has been made, but still there remain some concerns. How's your week been, getting up close and personal with a lot of flood victims, flood survivors, trying to get back into their homes?
Well, the money, Chad, that we're spending, of course, is federal taxpayer money, but it comes to us from Congress in the form of a community development block grant, which is administered by the Department of Housing and Urban Development. And that's a long-winded way of saying, earlier this week I asked Dr. Ben Carson, who's the secretary, to come down. I wanted he and his wife to see the damage that was done, see the recovery. The reason being, I'm going to ask him for some more money.
Sure.
Congress has appropriated about $1.7 billion. Not enough, but it's not chopped liver. I mean, it's a pretty serious amount of money. That's the good news. The bad news is that the state, I don't know, I think they've been able to get like $16 or $20 million for people, and it's. I was with the governor and I said, look, Gov, no disrespect, you got to get this money in people's hands. I can't go back. I sit on the Appropriations Committee in the Senate. I can't go back to my colleagues and say, I need more money, because the first question they're going to ask is, well, have you spent what we gave you? And I got to say, well, no. And they're going to say, well, when you spend it, come back. And so there was good and bad, but Dr. Carson, he's just a terrific guy, very bright, very caring. I think he gets it. We told him about some of the problems we had in terms of red tape. He's promised to help us cut that red tape. He already has. It was a good visit. I think it was good for Louisiana and good for him.
Is the time frame, the slow process, basically the biggest frustration for most of the residents here that you've been able to speak with on a face-to-face basis?
I think that's a big part of it. And look, it's taken so long to get them this money. Our people are so resilient. A lot of them just said, we're not waiting on government.
Right.
I mean, they went in, they took loans, they borrowed from relatives, they did the work themselves, they put a second mortgage on their own. They just made do. I think that's part of the problem. I mean, it just took government so long here. And I don't mean to be overly critical of Governor Edwards, but the state has to get this money from the checking account to the people. And it's been over a year now. And this money was appropriated back in September of last year.
It will remain an ongoing talking point and conversation. Switching gears just a bit, education has always been a top priority. You've been a teacher yourself in the school system in Louisiana. Your substitute teaching initiative continues. What are some of the overall goals of the program moving forward and just the impact of our teachers?
Chad, I think I started this in, I don't know, 13, 14 years ago. I volunteered to substitute teach in a public school here in Baton Rouge. I try to do it 2 or 3 times a year. I'm a real teacher. I start at 6:45 and go to 2:45 and do lunch duty and bus duty. This morning, I'm going to be out at Southside Junior High out in Denham Springs.
Very good.
I'm teaching history. I have a resolution I'm introducing in Congress to ask my fellow senators. I'm not going to require them. I'm just respectfully asking to be a substitute teacher for at least 1 day a year in a public school. You'll learn how hard it is to be a teacher, and you'll learn how hard it is to be a kid today.
Right. That's a great viewpoint as well, and really getting that hands-on interaction with the next generation.
Well, and look, teachers now are expected to teach, be a teacher, to be a mama or a daddy, to be a social worker, to be a doctor sometimes, to be a nutritionist, to be a psychiatrist. I mean, it is a hard job, and you go volunteer and do it. You start at 6:45.
Right.
You go to 2:45, you teach 4 or 5 classes, you and just those kids. You have bus duty or lunchroom duty. I promise you, at the end of the day, you are worn out.
Absolutely. We have just about 30 seconds. Wanted to ask you about federal fishing regulations. I know yourself, along with Senator Dr. Bill Cassidy, really fighting for our fishermen here in Louisiana and the Gulf states. What can be done to help ease up some of these restrictions, these regulations that our local residents have to endure?
Take it away from the feds. I mean, we're talking about red snapper. The feds regulate it from Washington, D.C., where you can fish, how much you can catch. There's some good people in the bureaucracy up there, but they don't know a red snapper from a red-nosed reindeer. And we can do the job a whole lot better ourselves than they can, and I'm trying to get it out of their clutches. But they like to hold on to that power, but we're making progress.
Senator John Kennedy, thank you, sir, for your
You bet,
time,
Chad.
and best
Good to
of
see
luck
you.
fighting for the people of Louisiana.